welcome. We have an exciting new series called the Legend Series. This is Listen Up a Minute, and we're going to bring you these outstanding individuals in Southside Virginia, the city of Petersburg, that had created their own legacies. And you're going to enjoy this fully. And it's right here on Listen Up a Minute.
And welcome to Listen Up a Minute. And I guess I should start off by saying Happy New Year, because this is the first taping for me into the new year. And I hope everything is going great for you so far. But look, I am excited to get started, to welcome you into the new year. I have a wonderful guest with me today, and her name is Miss Nicole Cook. And we are excited to get to know this young lady. I told her when I met her today, she had a pretty smile on her face. I said, we're going to treat this like this is your life. And Nicole, we're going to start out by asking you, where did you go to school?
So I went to school at Petersburg High School. I am actually born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but mostly raised in Petersburg, Virginia. So I am from Petersburg.
Big family?
Medium-sized family. I would say it's my mom, my dad, my siblings, mostly, and then my dad's family is here in Richmond, and then majority of my mom's family is in Michigan. So we're about a medium size.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what brought you down here? I mean, what brought you in the Petersburg area?
So we got into the Petersburg area when my mom was stationed here in Fort Lee. So she was stationed in Fort Lee, and then when she decided to get out of the military, we were going to move to a near city, and so we decided on Petersburg, Virginia. So when I was 8, we moved from Fort Lee into Petersburg.
Okay, so now we know about that. Now tell me what high school was like, and what was college like, and what led you on your path.
Yeah, so high school, was a typical high school for me. I grew up in Battlefield Park, so, I had a lot of neighborhood friends, just, living a normal child life. I wouldn't say I come from a middle class, probably struggling middle class family. And so we lived in Petersburg, and so high school for me was fun. I just, tried to do things. The way I came about with running, was my mom used to run track in high school. And when I was younger, I used to race my dad all the time. I used to always want to race. My dad used to always race me. And he was like, dang, she's kind of fast. And so when I got back from Michigan in middle school, I ran track in middle school for 1 year. And I really, really, really loved it. And I really did very well. And so when I came back here after that year, my dad was like, are you going to try out for track? And I was like, absolutely. And so I tried out, and I found out that I was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. Tell us about some of those pretty good, some of these accolades that pretty good.
So, when I first started, I thought I was a sprinter. And so, you always want to run short events. And so I found out after a while, once who I finished high school out with being coached by Coach James, once he took over the men's and the women's program, I quickly found out that I was a pretty good middle distance runner. And so when I was here and in school, I dominated in the middle sprints and long sprints, in the middle distance. And so I was national champion eventually. I got invited to different national events and just different things like that. So when I was running, the one thing, I went to Petersburg High. We didn't really have, in my opinion at the time, for what I think, a lot of funding, for us to do just different things and go different places. But that's the one thing I do remember is we always got to go to different places when we were running, because Coach James would somehow make it happen. And so, you know, we got to compete with different people and, you know, just around the state, because a lot of times before I would go to like states or invitational meets, I mean, I would just be dominating and like beating, you know, like just being first or whatever. And so when we would go to different places, I would get a lot more competition, which was really good for, I think, for us to experience different types of things. So high school track was great. It led me into college. That was the one thing I remember my dad telling me when I was growing up was like, you're going to go to college. He said, but you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get to go to college.
But you go.
Yeah, but I'm going. And so I think when I started running, I started to realize or learn that you could get scholarships to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one thing like Coach James would talk about, is just like really talking to us about college and different things like that, because I never really thought about college. And so that was how I got invited to visit Tennessee, the University of Tennessee, and some other schools. When I started, I came out like, even though I was dominant around here, it took a while for, I feel like, others to really get to know me. And it was like a silent, like, who is this girl? Where did she come from? You know? And so I would just like randomly, you know, show up. And so I started getting offers to go to visit different schools. And so I ended up, when I went to my visit to the University of Tennessee, I was like, I think this is it. Yeah, this is home. I knew I would be challenged. That was the one thing that I've always been pretty competitive. So, and, you know, like anytime even if I got beat, because I got beat sometimes, don't get me wrong, I wasn't always good. I was not always winning. No, you don't. Right. But you need that too, because I think for me, like anytime that I ever lost, I would go and I would research the person. I'm like, who is this person?
I can tell people, if you beat me, you're going to really beat me. Because I'm giving my all.
Yeah.
That means you giving your all, I give my all. You're going to have to really fight to beat me.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Yep. And so I would be like, who is this person? I would research them, and then I would come back and I would beat them the next time. You know, so I was always able to keep a good level head when I was in high school and you know, transition.
So now, I know that you're a social worker, so that's a giving heart. That's a giving spirit. Where does this giving spirit come from? Who gave you that and turned that, you know? Because somebody has to teach you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a good question. When I think about it, I always tell people I'm a giver, I'm a servant. I'm really like, when I talk to a lot of people now, just talk about like servant leadership, servant, just whatever you're doing, like just trying to be a servant. And so I feel like I've always been like that. But, you know, I do also feel that my upbringing, you know, like just with going to church and different things like that, and thinking about other people outside of yourself, no matter what you have going on, has always been like a strong catalyst for me, like wanting to help people. You know, I was around just so many different like role models, like my coaches or like my teachers, you know, and I feel like they always kind of instilled that in me of just being a giver.
Okay.
And giving back. And so I always knew I wanted to help people as whatever I was doing for my profession. So originally I wanted to be an OBGYN doctor. Okay. I was like, yeah, I want to be a doctor. And then it shifted to nursing, because I remember talking to a doctor and they were like, yeah, you want to be a doctor, don't go and do pre-med, do something that you would like. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, I'll do nursing and maybe I could be an OBGYN nurse. And so when I was in college, I had to apply to the nursing school, and it was pretty competitive. And so I didn't get in on the first try.
Okay.
So I had to change my major to something that was comparable, but that wouldn't put me behind in my studies so that I could still be eligible to run. So I chose social work. And, you know, I always tell people, I feel like social work chose me, honestly. Yeah, I feel like it chose me because it wasn't the direction that I was going, but it was the direction that I knew I needed as a foundation for just the work and just the things that I'm very passionate about now. You know, I think it's taught me so much just about understanding people and their environment and understanding how people develop and why people, you know, are, you know, how we are.
What are some of the challenges you see in this field?
I think there's a lack of education, a lack of knowledge on like what to do. You know, mental health has always been seen as a stigma. And so you always hear people, oh, you're crazy, or, something like that. It's always a negative connotation to it. But a lot of people are struggling with mental health challenges, and a lot of times we don't seek out the supports, just for fear.
Yeah, it's easy to ignore or say, oh, that's just the way he is, or that's just the way she is. And people really, there's been a stigma, especially in our community, because we just don't really seek our help.
Yeah.
We usually like, oh, suck it up, go and suck it up and get out there, you'll be all right. When really sometimes you need to talk to someone.
Yeah, and I think that's, just in our culture, we've been taught like, oh, like, don't be telling people your business, and why are you telling people? I hear I hear a lot of things when people come in, they like, well, what do I need to go and talk to somebody for? And I'm like,
You really do.
We do. And that's the problem, and just, I think it comes from a lot of things of how we've learned how to adapt to our situations, and we don't tell people things because, when you do involve people, it could get you into trouble. And so people see getting help as that's going to get me in trouble, or like I don't necessarily need it. And, so I just think that the knowledge and understanding like how important it is, no matter like how well you're doing, to always try to take care of your mental well-being.
Yeah, do you think there's enough advocacy people, enough help out there? I mean, are there resources that people can go to? And okay.
Yeah. So I think is there enough help? No. I think what we're seeing now is just a rise in a lot of people struggling with mental health barriers or challenges in the community. And, so no, we're trying to keep up with the pace of what is needed, but there also aren't a lot of people who are seeking services either. And so there are resources out there, but it does take a lot of, it takes work. You gotta, if you want something, you have to go for it and reach for it. It doesn't just fall into your lap all the time. So I think that's the hard part, is going and talking and doing all these different steps that may be necessary, for you to access these resources.
So now, where do you see yourself in, say, 10 years? What do you think?
10 years.
What's Nicole look like in the future?
So I think that's one. Right now I'm in school. I've everything that at least I try to do. Like, I just want to keep going and growing. So I'm in school right now to get my Master's of Science in Healthcare Administration.
Okay.
So I graduate this May, and so I'm hoping that, as I just continue to grow as a leader, and just continue to grow in the field of work that I do, that I could just continue to advance. So I really do want to be like a CEO or a COO of somebody's hospital.
Okay.
But on top of that, keeping my focus of mental health, because I think that, a lot of times when you get wrapped up into leadership, sometimes you can kind of lose focus on what your passion is. And so for me, my passion is still to educate people on improving your mental well-being, recognizing if there's an issue that's going on, who to reach out to for support, and even just understanding that, reaching out for support and talking to other people is not a bad thing. And so I'm working on a couple of projects right now too, just to continue to educate people on wellness and trying to be well, mentally and physically, because the two go hand in hand. And that's what I've seen a lot, even just with myself, and being resilient. I think in our culture, we are very resilient in the things, but now we have to address the things that have gotten us to where we are. I always say we all have a struggle or something that we've gone through, to where we had to kind of figure it out and keep moving, and just knowing how to do that, and knowing that you can, and that you don't have to necessarily mask over, like what brought you to this space.
You have such a strong, positive image. Now, I know that usually that comes from having somebody in your life that you looked up to, that gave you that. Now, let's talk about him or her or the many people.
I think there's a lot of people that have been pretty important in creating me, shaping me, and shaping me. Of course, my parents, my dad, he was no nonsense, and I take care of my dad now. But, he just raised me in such a way, like a first child. I'm the oldest of all of my siblings, and that's how he raised me, to take care of everybody, make sure everybody's taken care of. So I credit my dad because he always told me, he's like, you're going to go to college. And I was the first person in our family, to go to college outside of my dad's sister. So he really instilled that in me. He always told me I should be the best. I think my teachers, Mr. Miles, Coach James, just anybody, even Coach Kent. Like, I've experienced so many different teachers, role models, adults at Petersburg that have nurtured me to be who I am. And even just having little nuggets each day. I remember P in the 7th and 8th grade with Coach Thomas, and he used to have us recite the I am somebody. Every class. And so, like, just little things like that, I think, have just continued to build me up to know that, even though you may not come from a background that is, where you have everything that you necessarily need, but as long as you have the little things like love and, people just constantly pushing you and expecting greater, from you and using their previous experiences to kind of help guide you. I think that's really important, and I think that's how I became who I am. They'll probably say I was quiet, and I still am quiet. I'm quiet, but I just really have a strong passion of just wanting to help, and even if you help one person, that person is going to help somebody else. And so if we just continue to kind of pay it forward, and even just figuring out how to give back, because somebody's giving something to you, so you have to give back to.
Well, I truly believe that you should give back, and the more those of us that have something to give back to, I think we should be obligated to give back, because we have more to those that are giving.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have a lot to give, you have to give back and have a giving spirit.
Yeah.
That's how I've made it this. You never walk alone.
Yeah.
You walk with your community. You walk with your family. And then you walk.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not stupid. The main reason we walk and upstairs.
That's reaping.
Yeah, up there. And that walk keeps people like you in my life. I just traveled out of the country, and it was
it
11 days in Dubai.
Oh, nice. That sounds really nice.
There's smiles.
Everything.
They believe in joy, prosperity, and that everybody should prosper.
Yeah.
I was like,
something free, right?
Free university.
Yeah.
Like, and then our reality is not always there.
It's not the same, and it's okay when your reality is not the same.
Not the same, yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
It's good to get out there. Like I tell people, it's good to get out there and see the world and see how different people live and realize that we all want the same things. We do, yes. All this noise and confusion about da-da-da-da-da, you don't like this because you're this. We all want the same thing.
We do.
You want to be... Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to be happy. Who wants to go through life not happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so and everybody has their own path. Yes. I listen and I look at yours, how your social work and how running, everybody brings it to mine came to the theater and mine came to singing and yours comes to social work, but we all have a purpose.
Yeah.
And we all need to fulfill
your purpose.
Those purposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I meet people like you who are on the road, on the path, on the journey, I get strength.
Yeah, and we should build off of each other. Yeah.
It's strength. And I believe at this time, right we're going through right now, we need to go back to the old landmark where people took care of each other, looked after each other, lifting each other up, fed you if you were hungry, sheltered you if you were cold. We've always had, in the midst of everything else, we had that community. And if nothing else, I think the universe is driving us back
to community. Absolutely.
To community.
Yeah, I think community is important. Especially like you said, just helping each other out and even recognizing when there might be something, or somebody needs that help. Because a lot of times we don't like to ask for help. And, I think that's the biggest thing is we don't want to ask people for help because we don't want them to see us as weak or, we're not where we should be. And so, just getting rid of that misconception, and being able to, even if you need help, ask for it. If you see somebody struggling, give it to them. I think that's why I want to educate people more on, or our people more on getting help. And it's okay if you need to go see a therapist. It's okay if you need to see a psychiatrist or somebody that can kind of help you to get to where you want to get to. Because as you said, we all have a purpose, and sometimes we can experience roadblocks. Sometimes we can experience barriers that keep us from achieving things at the pace in which we may want to or what we expect to. And so sometimes, just remembering we have community, we have people, we have family, you have friends, you have other professionals.
I certainly hope you are listening and realizing that it's okay to get help. If you need help, it's okay to reach out and get help. And I hope that this year, it's 2026, this will be the year that you will let go of your belt and take care of yourself and recognize that it's okay. We don't always feel great every day, but if you get up and put one foot in front of the other and you just keep moving and separate forward, you can make it when in the struggle. And so this has been a wonderful interview, and I have really enjoyed listening to you and your positive spirit just ooze. And I know they can feel it through the television, so that, yes, that you will come back to listen up a minute and stick with us throughout the new year. And we just enjoy having Miss Nicole Brogdon as our guest. And I am so happy to have been able to come back into your homes wherever you're receiving this broadcast. And remember, you got to listen up a minute. If you could want to learn something, you just like to stop, take a little time, take a minute, listen up a minute. We'll be back. I hope you enjoyed this broadcast, and we'll see you the next time. Be blessed, and until then, bye-bye.